What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer taking a look at a Tearlament Spright combo. This was from YCS Pasadena, and this was in round 6, game 3, if you want to go watch the actual game. So, if you guys are new to my channel, one of my favorite videos to do is the step-by-step comp tutorial, basically where I go over, some of the biggest decks of the format and kind of explain how they work, in a step-by-step process. If you've never read the cards, like when you're watching the stream, it's so easy to get lost in what's happening. So, I like to just take a little snapshot of a game and kind of, see what the whole hype is about. And we'll go ahead and just start from there. So I'm literally going to explain every card. So this is Planet Palorino, I think it's called. When it's activated, you get to add a Tearlaments monster to your hand. Oops, I'll just go ahead and pause this real quick while I read this. And if a Tearlament monster you control or in your graveyard to shuffle it into the deck or extra deck, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. So this card's obviously very good because you can destroy your own Tearlament monsters, which have effects when destroyed, or it's just additional disruption during your opponent's turn on top of just being a searcher. So obviously the card does a whole lot of stuff, and my guess is that it will more than likely be limited on the next ban list, along with terraforming being completely banned. That is my one guess. But then he started his turn with Tearlament's Sheeran. So during your main phase, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. And then all of them have the effect when sent to the graveyard, except for the Rhino Heart, which I don't think comes up in this duel, so you don't have to worry about it. There's 3 Tearlament names that fusion summon when hit the graveyard, so this is one of them. So if you really don't know what Tearlament does, basically you get to shuffle cards from field or graveyard or hand to do fusion summons. And these were the mills, so it looks like I'm viewing the deck, but it's just so I have accurately what milled. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened. So to start the whole thing off, Angler was sent to the graveyard from hand. So if this card's sent from hand or deck to the graveyard, you get to special summon 2 Nimble monsters, which is going to be Nimble Beaver from the deck. So that's already good. You're pitching something, getting advantage. Beaver didn't do anything off the mill, but of course Medora is very good. So this card lets you quick effect banish a target up to 3 cards in any graveyards, or up to 5 if exchanged to Spears in the graveyard, which it's not really important. So normally it's a shuffle back 3, which is against the mirror, right? This is a tier 0 format. I don't see it changing anytime soon until the ban list rolls around, meaning that you've already gotten so much, right? You're going to get 2 from the deck. This is insane disruption during your opponent's turn, and on top of that, you're going to get a fusion summon. Like I said, all the 3 mainline Tearlaments, when they're sent to the graveyard, they have the same effect of fusion. So this is how it plays out. So effect 1 is going to be the Nimble Angler, and then Hobness, 2 fusion summons. So it's going to send back itself and the Sheeran that was already, just special summon, going into a Kit Kalos. So new, after you bring back the Beaver, new chain link here. This is what searches, so Kit Kalos. When it's special summon, you can take a Tearlament card and add it to your hand. And that's how that works. Then you can go ahead and use the effect. So secondary effect, you get to target a monster you control, special summon a Tearlament monster from your hand or graveyard. And if you do, send the targeted monster to the graveyard. And of course, if it's sent to the graveyard, it mills 5. So here's how it's going to go down. So it's going to target itself, special summon the Merrily that was added earlier in the turn off of the field spell. So when it's special summon, you send the top 3 cards to the graveyard, and then Kalos obviously is 5, so you get to mill 8. Well, so we'll see what all of these mills are. I'm sure it's all good. And I think that was it. So terraforming's not going to do anything, but Merrily fusion summon has not happened yet. The effect to mill has. Sometimes it's hard to keep track. That's really one of the biggest challenges of this, and that's why this is such a skill-intensive format. I don't think Sheeran has been used as fusion either at this point. Maybe the Merrily was used as the first one. This was special summon, but I don't think used. This is the Oracle, so another copy of this, but never bad to just have these in your graveyard to disrupt your opponent. Super Poly, of course, does nothing. And I believe there's 2 more mills here, so it's the Haveness, which was already used, and the field spell. So we'll see how this chain ends up resolving. Again, this is just a one-for-one rendition. So yes, Sheeran fusion had not happened yet. So we're going to send back the Kit Kalos, and itself, of course, you have to use it as material to go into a Dragostapelia. So this is just a quick effect, negate, which is really good against your opponent's Kit Kalos, which you'll most likely be facing. Then you can go ahead and link off into a Spright Sprint. So it is a link 2 that only requires one monster that is link or level 2, which is very convenient to get some other stuff off the board, although I guess in that case they're both level 2s anyways. But this lets you send a level 2 from your deck to the graveyard. It's just a Foolish Burial, so go ahead and send a Merly. And then Merly Fusion Summon. So it must have been the third name, so this is the last Fusion Summon they're going to get for the turn. Again, it is kind of hard. So Havnus, Sheeran, and now Merly is being used. So that's how it went down. Sending back the Havnus in itself to special summon a Garua. So when it's sent to the graveyard to get the draw card. So it's just kind of free. Again, knowing that they're going to end their turn soon, so getting at least all the names off, and then shuffling most of them back into the deck anyways, which is pretty cool. And then you can even send your own cards back if you really want to with Oracle. Pretty nuts. And if you don't know what's Gigantic Spright, basically detach material to special summon any level 2 from the deck. It locks you to 2 at that point, but no need to fusion summon, right? They've already been through all the names. So Spright Blue gets to search a Spright card. Or I believe it's a Spright monster, excuse me. So they're going to go ahead and add a red. So now, this is where things get really interesting, and there's so many different ways that you can go about doing this end board. So I'm going to try to go over that best I can. But you can go ahead and link summon off here into a Spright Elf. Now, I've actually done this a little bit differently than they did. In their combo, they did not have this pointing towards Drago. So if you don't know, Spright Elf brings back a level 2 from the graveyard, and it also protects whatever it's pointing to from targeting effects. You would think you would want to protect this, because it really is a really good interruption during, for your opponent. So obviously the effective Grua would be used, but it wasn't in this case because this was at the end of the round. So you're going to see here what they send. They're going to send a red Resonator. Basically, what he's going to do is bring it back with Elf. It's a level 2, targeting the Gigantic Spright. So he's going to get to gain 3,200 life points. So when it comes to time and round, which is very relevant, obviously, at YCS's, with 40-minute rounds, there was only, I believe, like 5 minutes left. So I don't know. That's kind of a lot of time, but I guess this is a crazy format. This can bring back Merly, during your opponent's turn, the Elf, which is wild. But the other, obviously, like probably more clear line, and maybe just objectively better, is to Foolish Burial Jet, bring back Jet, add Smashers, special summon red, so you have a Smashers, a red negate, and then your Dragostapelia. And then during your opponent's turn, of course, you can bring back Merly to mill 3, probably hit something crazy, and that's pretty much how it would have gone. But they ended up going into, in the dual IP Masquerena. This isn't a bad end board either, of course, but yeah, that's how it ended up shaking out. Let me know what you guys think about this step-by-step comment tutorial, Tearlaments, the format, the whole 9 yards, in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.